On this episode of Where's the Line, me and Joseph are going to break down Tennessee and Vanderbilt's losses this past Saturday, and then we're going to take a look into week 4 of college football. It's a very negative, very somber episode, but it is episode number 98. Let's get into it.
You are now listening to the Where's the Line podcast with Joseph West and Britt Dillard. Enjoy the show.
Milton gonna take a shot wide open and just strutting in is Keaton. Joe Milton does it again.
Orgy again on a blitz. Levis pocket collapses. He's on the run. He just heaves it up. And it's intercepted by Vanderbilt. And let the celebration begin. The streak is over at 26. The Commodores win it.
Talk about Vanderbilt football. All I gotta say, and you're going to hell. Bye.
Another edition of Where's the Line. It is Thursday, September 19th. This is episode number 98. Week 3 of college football is in the books. It is episode 98, but it does not feel like 98. Joseph, how are you doing today?
Does not feel like 98, Britt. I'm doing good, kind of. Coming off a real suicidal weekend. Just trying to get right. Man, how are you?
I'm good. I'm not the guy that's going to say that I'm not good. I have been under the weather this week, so apologies for the late episode. Really, the only bright spot in this podcast is the Titans won Sunday, which I guess I'm a Titans fan. And I'm sure the Braves won, but we're down bad. Vols lost to Florida Saturday. The Doors lost to whatever UNLV's mascot is. Yeah, we're down bad, but we're here. We have an obligation to the people to get on here and air our grievances, so that's what we're going to do.
I have never felt a bigger obligation to the people than when I thought about the game Saturday and I was just drowning my sorrows in Las Vegas. I'm just down bad. And I was like, man, I really have to get on here and talk about this to other people. And that is the worst thing I thought of, is that I just had to talk about it again, knowing that it all makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, man. And especially the place that we're at with both of our teams, it's a lot of takes are going to be kind of controversial. So I guess there's only one thing to do, and that's to just get into it. But let's talk about Tennessee-Florida. The streak was not broken in the swamp Saturday night in Gainesville. The Vols fell. I believe it was, let me not speculate. It was 29-16, with Florida scored 20 points in the second quarter alone. But all around, just a very disappointing game. I'm just kind of going to go on a monologue here, Joseph, for a second. Joseph isn't on camera. We're just kind of throwing this episode together, but we're going to get through it. Tennessee's offensive line looked terrible. You really missed Cooper Mays Saturday night. He dressed out. He was at the game. He looked like he wanted to play. I guess he just wasn't given permission to. At first, I was really mad at him, but I don't think that was the correct emotion to have. I think he would have been out there if he wanted to play. But his replacement, Ollie Lane, looked bad. He looked very bad. Personal fouls, missed assignments, offsides. The O-line just did not look very good, and we were really missing our backbone there with Cooper. Defensive backs looked terrible. They looked pretty bad. Kamal Hadden, especially, just did not have a good game. But I came away from this game more worried about coaching than I did execution. So, like in 2021, you always think of the Pitt game when you think of Joe Milton not being able to hit receivers, just a lot of overthrows in that game. That was execution was off. And yes, that's frustrating, but it's not as frustrating as when the coaching isn't coming through. Like I can handle when the coaching is good and guys just don't get the job done. But if you feel like the coaches are holding your team back, that sucks. And I feel like that's something that Tennessee and Vanderbilt are both kind of in the same boat there. But I mean, Josh Heupel got completely outcoached and outclassed Saturday night by Billy Napier. And I'm a man of my word. Um, I'm not going to call him Sunbelt Billy anymore until Josh Heupel beats him again. So I'm a man of my word. His name is Billy Napier. I need to apologize to that man. And Florida's Tennessee's dad, honestly. And you hope that they can overcome that mental hurdle and that it's not a real thing, but it seemed very real Saturday night about 8 o'clock. It seemed very real.
This man, Britt Diller, in case y'all cannot tell, is in the shadows. He is deep in the shadows after having to say that about Billy Napier. Britt, I honestly can't believe you said it.
Yeah, I'm a man of my word. Um, that's all I'm gonna say. But moving on, I'm just gonna get through this. This is what they say. If you've got to eat a shit sandwich, you don't sit there and chew it. You just crank it down your throat. You don't sit there and nibble on it.
You just keep on going, and I'm gonna come through when you're done.
Okay. Josh Heupel lost a lot of trust Saturday night. He's starting to show his stubbornness. He's starting to show his marriage to the system. And I think that it's going to be hard for him to get that back. I think he can get it back this year. I think you still need to go 9-3, but just very frustrated. Josh Heupel's had 3 years to recruit a center, and he hasn't done it. And as bad as I hate to get into it, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but Joe Milton cannot run this offense. He just can't do it. He's not mentally capable to run Josh Heupel's offense, and we saw it Saturday. And we've got to the point with Joe Milton where we want him to be good so bad that we ignore the quarterback aspect of it. The only thing that we do when we watch Joe Milton is see if he can make throws. And that's a big part of being a quarterback, but also just being able to command the offense, to make reads before the play, to get your team set up. Joe Milton doesn't have it. And if Hendon Hooker was at quarterback Saturday night, Tennessee blows Florida out. I think Tennessee wins if Nico plays quarterback Saturday night. And listen, we all love Joe Milton, but it is time to move on. And I'm not saying that it's Joe Milton's fault, but it's a big part of it. Tennessee only gave up 29 points on Saturday. Your offense only scored 16. You scored the first drive of the game, and then you didn't score again until there was 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's just unacceptable. And last year, like if you would have told me coming into this game that Tennessee gives up 29 points last year, Tennessee's killing this team. This is like last year's LSU game. Tennessee just routs them, especially after we score on the first drive. But you come out and score 16 points. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And with the 2022 team, the defense didn't matter. Our defense sucked. They were worse than they are this year, but it didn't matter because your offense was just so much better than your defense was so bad. And that's just what Tennessee doesn't have this year. So you can say whatever you want to about Kamal Hadden not tackling people or about the defensive line getting dominated because they did, but Tennessee loses this game because of offense. And the offense is not where it should be because Joe Milton is at quarterback. And you can argue with me if you want to, but it's true.
May I?
He is not where our quarterback needs to be. Go ahead.
I honestly can't believe I'm going to say this, but I don't even know if I put, and I'm not saying Britt is putting this much, but I don't know how much, like, percentage wise, I would put on Joe Milton. When you look at the PFF grades, which, don't get me wrong, they're not everything, but they are good to at least look at and, take some information from. Joe Milton was the second highest rating on this team offensively. The only person above him was Dante Thornton, who played less than 20 snaps. So Joe Milton, I don't really know if he was the problem in this game. But I will tell you that the O-line was absolutely atrocious. I mean, just not just center, but even when you look at, let me pull up here, just to make sure. Britt, you can still hear me, correct, sir?
Yeah, you're good. You sound
Perfect.
great.
Just wanted to make sure before I said that we are kind of doing this a little bit differently than normal. When you look at the PFF grades for the offensive line, you're looking at, scroll up here and get these numbers. You're looking at Jeremiah Crawford had 66 snap count. His PFF grade was a 43. Javonte Spraggins, Britt, please correct me if I say any names wrong. Snap count 66. PFF grade 65.6. I'm not even gonna attempt this next guy, Andre, maybe. I don't know how to say his last name either. Britt, help.
Andre Carriage.
All right, he also had 66 snap count with the PFF grade of 51.7. John Campbell Jr., 66 snap count, PFF grade 61.9. Ollie Lane, 57 snap count, PFF grade 54.7. Dane Davis only played 9 snaps, but had a 73.2 PFF grade. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say PFF grade, basically you're looking at anything 40 and below is terrible, absolutely terrible, like just pure trash. Like 50 is below average, 60 is pretty average, 70 is above average, 80 is good, 90 and above is elite. So you're looking at not even a single one of UT's offensive line played average, except for a guy who only played 9 snaps.
Yeah, but my argument to that would be is yes, you did lose a top 10 pick as your right tackle. You don't have your starting center in the game. I understand that. But last year, Hendon Hooker made our offensive line look amazing. Hendon Hooker was great in the pocket, and that was my biggest concern with Joe Milton. And it's still there. Like, he just doesn't have the pocket presence. And if
Yes.
he can help this offensive line look better. And I just listened to John Reed. He was talking about Josh Heupel and Joe Milton, and he was like, Josh Heupel is like the guy on the internet who's texting the 13-year-old girl. Like, you think he's going to change. You think he's going to learn to not play Joe Milton, but he just goes back to him. And like, you look at Michael Penix Jr. at Washington. Like, that he's a 6-year player. He looks really good. He's gotten a lot better since he was committed to Tennessee in like 2016. Joe Milton, is he better than he was at Michigan? I think that's a valid question. Is he better than the guy that we saw in Michigan?
I think that's a valid question, Britt. If you can still hear me, I could have froze at this point.
You're good.
But it's I think that this game was not, like, I don't think Tennessee lost this game because of Joe Milton. Although my same questions, kind of like reside of, like, can Joe Milton be the guy? And I've voiced my opinion that I don't think that he can. But also the offensive line struggles, and he 100% can make the offensive line look better to the eye. To Britt's court, I 100% agree he can. But PFF grades are all based off of, like, are you getting beat off a line? So, like, he can't make those look better. Now he can avoid that and not take the sack and still make the play 100%. But Milton's not a guy who's going to take all this offensive pressure and still just stand in there and deliver the throw and look like Tom Brady. Or, for UT fans' eyes, Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. And I honestly thought he took a step forward from what we've seen previous to this game this year. I thought he made great throws. I can't remember a throw. Now, I've been sick, so I don't know, and I haven't rewatched the game, but I don't remember a throw that was just terrible by Joe Milton. Like, he made some great throws, especially in the first drive, and in deep into the second half, he was running very well. That's not what I'm that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how he runs the offense. Like, we don't run near as fast as we did with Hendon Hooker. And that's why I know I'm going to get messages from people that disagree with me about Joe Milton. But look at last year. Like, if you want to talk about the offensive line taking a step back, I will listen to that. And I know that that has a part in it. But look at last year's defense. They're worse than this defense we saw Saturday night. But it didn't matter last year because you were so good on offense, you could overcome that. And that's what this team is missing. And I'm so passionate about that I think we need to play Nico. I can't handle going 8-4 with Joe Milton. I can't handle it. That's a waste of time. If you're not going to redshirt Nico, let him play. Let him win 7 games this year or 5 more. Let Nico go 7-5. I would be perfectly fine with that. We just need to see it. And I'm going to take heat for it, and that's fine. But I feel strongly about it.
Sorry, Britt. As I try to get to my normal place of recording, I may have cut out there for a second. Hope I didn't leave it open too long. But I think Britt makes a great point about Joe Milton to Nico as far as where is where is Tennessee's hopes? Like as of right now, you could still win the East, right? But in 2 weeks, you may not be able to. And at that point, do you turn to Nico? Britt, what do you think? Do you turn to him?
I I don't see why you don't turn to him right now. I don't I don't see the point in letting Nico beat UTSA and then lose to South Carolina when you can just throw Nico out there and get him a full game's experience. And a big concern has been play calling this year. That's because Joe Milton's the quarterback. He can't he can't mentally handle the playbook. He's been in the system for 3 years and he still doesn't know the playbook. It's insane. And then they get in there in a press conference today and Joey Housley, the offensive coordinator, is saying that Joe Milton's running the offense as efficient as he can. That's ridiculous. And he said that Nico is not the answer, that he couldn't run it any differently. That's ridiculous. That's insane. And I mean, I didn't listen to Josh Heupel, but golly, and I kept saying Saturday, somebody has castrated my coach. This is not Josh Heupel, but he is allowing Joe Milton to hold him back, and that's his fault. He's the coach. He's got to make a move. Everybody's on the block. Everybody's on the chopping block. Joey Housley, Tim Banks, Joe Milton, everybody is there. And if he doesn't make a change somewhere, big Josh Heupel is going to be on the chopping block. And I hate to say it, but he's going to let it happen.
Yes, you 100%. You cannot let loyalty to your friends or maybe coaches. I don't know his relationship, but you can't let them hang around too long because when you do, it's your own head that you end up costing yourself. So I don't think Britt's saying fire Heupel by any means, but also I 100% get what he's saying, and I'll kind of get into that when we talk about Vanderbilt as well.
Yeah, and I said it earlier, it's like a weird marriage and stubbornness to go by the system. Like it's 4th and 1, a huge point of the game. And whether you want to complain about the ref kicking the ball or whatever, that's irrelevant. It's 4th and 1. You've got a 240-pound quarterback, and you run a shotgun run, inside run from shotgun. Like how stubborn and stupid do you have to be to run that play just because that's the play you run every other play and get 2 yards? That doesn't mean you need to do it in every situation. It's so frustrating. And like I'm very passionate. I've been
I
sick.
can
I haven't
tell.
left my house in 3 days, but I got the Chinese virus in my body. But like,
Um,
oh damn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
all right.
Any
Well,
whatever.
now now that I
I'm
have
mad, dude.
now that I have collected my thoughts, to the people I was driving, I didn't want to say that while I didn't want nobody to freak out. I've made it home safely. I'm now in the pod chair. Let me say this.
because I didn't get to really get into it earlier. First of all, if you're a Tennessee Vols fan, I'm talking to you right now. I need you to zone in. I don't have my hater glasses on. I don't have anything. I'm telling you straight up what I seen when I watched the game. I already known UT had lost. It's the only reason I didn't die in Vegas was because UT lost. Anyone who knows me knows that's probably true. It's the only reason I didn't have more suicidal thoughts than normal is because UT lost to Florida. But that doesn't matter. What I'm saying right here matters. Number 5, Kamal Hadden, and I'm going to name some other numbers, and I don't know who they are. I hope Britt can help me. Number 13 and number 1. I don't know who those guys are, and I don't care. Those three guys.
Number 1 is Gabe Gigliotti.
He's terrible. I should have known that, actually. He's garbage. And none of 13 and 5. Who's 13, Britt?
Wesley Walker. He's a good player.
Wesley Walker, at times, especially I have 3 times highlighted in the first half, gave piss poor effort, diving at people's feet with one arm out. Kamal Hadden shoulder bumping people and diving out people with one arm out. If I'm a Tennessee fan, I never want to see 13, 5, or 1 touch the field again simply because of effort. Their effort was piss poor. They didn't want to win the football game. And I know everybody says, well, they didn't want to lose. I actually agree. They probably don't deep down, but their play did not show that they cared to win the game. Any of those 3 guys. Any of those 3 guys. Those 3 guys were pitiful. And Tennessee's defense did only give up 29 points. But I would argue to this Florida team, that's a lot of points. I would argue that. This Tennessee defense is better than UT's defense last year, but I don't know how much better. Like, honestly, I don't. Kamal Hadden is a trash can who gives maybe 30% effort. I would say the same, and once again, we're early in the season. But from what I saw in the Florida game against the first real talent he saw, 13, he wasn't about it either. He was not about the smoke. Number 1.
I didn't notice Wesley Walker doing bad. He's a good player. He's a really good player.
And like I said, I highlighted 13 the very first time I thought he was lazy was on the Travis Etienne run. He dove at his feet right before Kamal Hadden kind of gives him a shoulder nudge, I guess, trying to push him towards the end zone or whatever the hell he was trying to do. But I don't understand. That was the thing I wanted to focus on, was just the effort. What is the effort? Like, I've questioned last year, if you listen to this podcast, I'm not doing this to hate on UT. I questioned some Vanderbilt players' effort last year more than once. I was like, does this guy even care to be on the field? Because his play doesn't show me that he does. If you just get stiff-armed, if Kamal Hadden just got stiff-armed and threw to the damn ground, I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him. What was his name? Walker?
Yeah, Wesley
Walker. Wesley Walker just gets absolutely ran over by Derrick Henry. You're not mad. But when I'm questioning, was he trying to really make the tackle? Was he giving his 100%? I think that's when you have to step back and say, okay.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Kamal Hadden is he's the most frustrating player since Justin Martin. If you're a Tennessee fan, you remember Justin Martin and how mad he made people. But the secondary is a problem. It has been for 3 years. What is so infuriating is your defense I think they've taken a step forward, but it's literally hurting Tennessee. Florida, their game plan coming out, Florida had a good game plan. They were going to come out and control the ball. They were going to control possession. And that's what kills Tennessee. Last year, our defense sucked so bad, we would just let them score some. Not literally. They would just score fast. Sometimes we'd hold them to 3, and we'd force some turnovers. But then we're scoring every drive. It didn't matter. We're going to outscore you. This year, we're going to let the other team have the ball on 6, 7, 8-minute drives, score a touchdown. Then we go out there and go 3 and out. Because all we do is run swing passes because we don't trust our 6-year quarterback to throw the damn ball. That's what's infuriating. And our coach, it's coaching. It's not Joe Milton's fault. It's just like Jarrett Garantano. It's not his fault that he kept getting thrown out there. It's coaching. And something has got to change. And it starts at quarterback. I'm sorry. I love Joe Milton. And I have people in mind that are going to come at me for going at Joe Milton. That is a humble man's opinion. I have nothing against Joe Milton, but I want to see Tennessee win, and I think Joe Milton is keeping that from happening.
Yeah, for the record, I quoted that Joe Milton had the highest PFF grade on the team. He did have an 80.3, that is ranked as very good. So like by the numbers, Joe Milton didn't play bad,
Yeah, he made good throws.
but also though, if Joe Milton is holding back the play calling, then you do have to question Josh Heupel a lot.
Yes.
Because then you're getting, but once again, we're talking on assumptions, assuming that's what it is, because Tennessee's not taking near as many deep shots through 3 games as they had last year. So is
Yeah.
it coaching? But I see throws like the one that Joe Milton made to Dante Thornton down the middle of the field, right over the shoulder into the bread basket. And
Yeah.
you're like, maybe it's not Joe Milton's fault.
Yeah. And he
And
made
then,
another great throw to Brew McCoy. I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, you're
But
fine. That was a good throw.
Joe Milton's best balls are his deep balls. Joe
True.
Milton has great balls. Okay?
At least
But
deep
and
ones when he's
but
deep.
so if Joe Milton's not gonna, or if Josh Heupel doesn't trust Joe Milton to make his best throw, he's not gonna trust Nico to do the same thing. Like I I went on Joe, but it's really on Josh. Like, have some faith in your players. And I know Hendon was more calm and collected, but you've got to let Joe play or get him out of there.
Yeah, and some of this too may be to Britt's point last week, which do you miss Golish? And I know at least it was my assumption that last year UT fans believed that Heupel was calling the plays. I don't know if that was true. I haven't really looked into it that much. But I would like to say I don't think that he was. Just simply like don't get me wrong. Did it go through Josh Heupel? 100%. Was he the final say? 100%. But was he calling them down in and down out? I don't know. And so that's when I think you look towards Golish and say, well, maybe you are missing Golish and it will take a second to figure out. Also, remember this as UT fans. First of all, I do think Britt's maybe freaking out a little too much. I will say that. This is also year 3 of Josh Heupel. This is 3 years of Josh Heupel's film. I'm sorry, Josh Heupel's game plan being on film. This is the year that you tend to see things go south. You tend to see things in like Baltimore Ravens year 3. Lamar didn't have near as good as a year. You see it a lot in the NFL. Most time, year 3 is the year things are getting figured out. Things are getting popped. And so I do think that could be part of the problem too, is maybe defenses have gotten, even if they've only gotten 15% better at figuring out Josh Heupel's scheme, that's 2 touchdowns less a game, right? That's a touchdown less a game. And then throwing a quarterback who's not as accurate as Hendon Hooker, when you go from Hendon Hooker to Joe Milton, that's another touchdown or maybe more a game. So I really don't know how much of this is maybe Josh Heupel's coaching, maybe him calling the wrong plays or not having faith in Milton. I think it's kind of a combination of, hey, this UT was never going to average scoring 50 points a game for the next 7 years. They weren't. They never were. If you thought that, I'm sorry to ruin your dream. You were mistaken. They were never going to do that. And so I think that you look at it from several different aspects, but ultimately, I think Tennessee lost this game just because I honestly think Florida took it personal. I think Florida was mad. They were double-digit underdogs, 8.5-point underdogs. Coming in, you're in the swamp. UT hadn't won there since 2003. No one was really giving the Gators a shot to win, unless apparently you were just some randoms or me on this podcast. You just kind of picked Florida because it's Florida versus Tennessee in the swamp, and that was the reason you picked Florida. Graham Mertz played better than I expected him to. I will say that Graham Mertz made some really nice throws, especially on the run towards the sidelines. Graham Mertz made some hell of a throws, and then some great catches from some of Florida's wide receivers as well. I want to say last name Wilson on one of them made some solid plays. So I'm not in the same boat as Britt. I do think that you losing this game is cause to worry. But I think that the reasons you lost this game, the way that Britt feels and the way that I feel are differently on why Tennessee lost this football game. And that's not bad. That's not even saying that I'm right and Britt's wrong, or that Britt's wrong and I'm right. It's just saying that, look, when it's football and it's week 3 in college, you're probably going to have a different opinion on how you lost the game. As long as you don't say anything stupid, like, well, UT lost his game because of Jabari Small or something insane, then like I can at least understand where you're coming from, and I get what Britt's saying. So that's just kind of how it is for me.
Yeah. You've got a 4-week stretch here where you're not going to be traveling any. You've got UTSA South Carolina, and then I think you've got a bye week in there, and then Texas A&M at home. It's going to be Joe Milton. They're going to roll with him from everything I'm seeing. So, man, I hope Joe Milton goes out and goes crazy. But I definitely and justifiably so have my doubts. Um, and it could just come down to that Josh Heupel sucks on the road. Look at his last 3 road games. I'm not counting Vanderbilt. No offense. Like
I do
no
not blame
offense at
you.
all. I'm not counting Vanderbilt. But look at the last 3 away games. You've gotten blown out. Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. You have gotten killed by at least 2 scores and just completely come out flat and got your ass kicked. So, I mean, maybe that's all it comes down to. I don't know. But I'm emotional. I'm just ready to snap and clear, as Butch Jones would say, and move forward, as Jeremy Pruitt would say.
Well, forward we move. The Vanderbilt Commodores faced UNLV in Vegas on Saturday. They lost on a game-winning field goal, 40-37 in Allegiant Stadium. I was there. There's not enough negative and just downright disgusting words to use. There's just not. You can't use enough to describe it. Vanderbilt got up 17-0 in this game. It was all Vandy early. Vanderbilt finally started the true freshman Martell Hyde at cornerback that we've all been begging for. Very first score is a pick 6 by the true freshman. I mean, it's hard to beat that. Your guy that was a 247 preseason All-American comes in and gets a pick 6 the first game you let him basically start. I don't know what else you want from him. Defense got a pick 6. And then the offense scores 17-0. And after that, the wheels absolutely fell off of this damn train. And it's more than things that I'll talk about. It is. It's there's more problems than a thing that I'll talk about. But let's just start a few. First off, Joey Lynch in the offensive play calling. Absolute dog shit. Garbage. Could not be worse. The most plain vanilla offense of all time. The only reason we ever score is because we have players that are better than the other team. That's the reason we'll score the rest of the year as long as he's employed. We will score the ball because London Humphreys is fast and cooks a DB off the line. We will score a ball. We will score because Will Shepherd goes up and makes a hell of a catch down the sideline like he did against UNLV. We will score because Jaden McGowan outruns you. We will not score because of scheme. We don't score because of scheme. And on defense, we sure as hell don't stop anybody because of scheme. Nick Howell and Joey Lynch are by far the 2 biggest people on the hot seat right now for Vanderbilt Commodores. That is Vanderbilt's offensive coordinator and Vanderbilt's defensive coordinator. They both suck. And they should both be fired. Hey, Rizzo. I seen Rizzo in the camera. I had to give her a shout out. It doesn't matter. I can't even be nice to Rizzo because I'm so pissed. They're both trash. Absolutely tragic. And I would like to say something about Vanderbilt's quarterback as well. Vanderbilt and Tennessee maybe, well, actually not at all. But Vanderbilt fans calling for someone other than A.J. Swan. I do just want to say this. If you watch this game and you think Vanderbilt lost because of A.J. Swan, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I don't know what other way to tell you that you're stupid besides just telling you that you're an idiot. It's the only way for me to describe it. You're stupid. A.J. Swan is not the problem. Will Shepherd is not the problem. Jaden McGowan is not the problem. The weapons on offense are not the problem. The O-line sucks. First of all, let me say that. Vanderbilt and Tennessee fans can relate right here because if you look at Vanderbilt's grades, they're just as bad as Tennessee's. Vanderbilt offensive line freaking sucks. And Julian Hernandez, a 6th-year senior at center, who I love. I played Call of Duty with this guy. Great guy. But the dude's a damn drive killer. He's out here snapping it. He's snapping it 2 feet over Swan's head in the red zone back-to-back weeks. You're killing drives, and you're a 6th-year senior. And I've got bad snaps I'm having to deal with. Our long snapper snapped one into the up man on a punt. When you talk about shit just going wrong, like a cursed university, it was this Vanderbilt game. Your long snapper hits an up man. Your 6-year senior can't snap it to the damn quarterback. You're fumbling kickoffs. Clark Lee said we weren't going to beat ourselves. We do beat ourselves, and we can't beat nobody. It's sad. It's pathetic. It's downright embarrassing is what it is. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that as a 23-year-old and a lot of my friends who are Vanderbilt fans that I've come to know and love, a bunch of great guys, 20 to basically 26 years old, we all had the same question in the group chat this weekend. How much more can we take? How much more can you take? For the first time in my whole entire life, and I want people to think about this. I want people to go back and look at records of Vanderbilt in my life. Let's say since 2008, assuming that, because that's when I really started watching games that I can remember as 2008 for Vanderbilt. I want you to go and look at the seasons. I want you to look at 2-10. I want you to look through all of them. And I want you to understand that right now on Sunday was the first time I ever thought, could I like another team? Could I go like another team? Could I? The first time I ever thought it, out of shitty year after shitty year after shitty football, after shitty coach, after shitty football. This was the first time I ever thought it. Could I like someone else? Can I take this any longer? I wish so bad I could let Candace Lee, the AD of Vanderbilt, who is a great woman and I adore. But I wish I could just let her listen to this right here. The next 5 minutes of me starting there. Because it's pitiful. I'm broken. I'm broken. I've never been this broken before. I've had girls leave me and get married. That didn't break me like this did. I've had girls I've had girls leave me and just break my heart in high school. Y'all know who it is if you know me. Shout out. That didn't break me like this broke me. I was in shambles Saturday night. I mean, I was sitting in the casino on a slot machine, hitting that damn progressive bet button, thinking, I can't take this any longer. This was the worst Vanderbilt loss I've ever sat through. And I'll say that right now. You can throw in ETSU. You can throw in your mama. I don't care what you throw in. This is the worst Vanderbilt loss I've ever sat through. And here's why. The very first year, Clark Lee was like, I have the worst roster in Vanderbilt football history, which was true. He did. Absolutely terrible. I'm not mad at Clark Lee for anything that happened in year one. That's okay, Clark. Year two, it's gotten better, but still don't expect a lot of results. Basically, I'm paraphrasing here. This is basically what Clark has said. Don't expect a lot of results, but we are better. In year three, I got told postseason was the goal, which I agree with. And we were going to be much better. We were going to be a confined football team. We may not win every game, but we were not going to beat ourselves. We were going to be great in the areas that Vanderbilt should be great in. We were going to be great in special teams. We were going to be great in out-scheming other coaches. We were going to be great. Let's not even say great. We were going to be good. We were going to be efficient. We're not even that. We're bad. We're bad defensively. Play calls are terrible. Offensive play calls are not worse, but they're bad. My defensive coordinator got so scared of me, he deactivated his Twitter. You're soft. No wonder the team's soft. You're soft. And I've got Clark over there sitting on the sideline with no damn emotion. And I know. I've tried to tell myself, Joseph, 1,000 times, his emotion doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, it doesn't. The reason I truly believe Vanderbilt even climbed back in the UNLV game after getting down by 2 scores is because Clark Lee is who he is. He's got that I'm never flustered. I'm never too high. I'm always the same. I'm always just stoic. And I truly believe that's what made Vanderbilt's team come back, because you follow your leader, Clark Lee. But the same reason, using the same, I can't even think, my brain's not even working, using the same logic, thank you. Using the same logic, we have no dogs. Why do we not have any dogs? Because our coaches ain't got no dog in them. They're all soft as hell. Yeah. Nick Howell, soft. Joey Lynch, soft. Clark, I love Clark Lee. Let me say this too, just a preface. I love Clark Lee. There's nobody who wanted to believe more in the Clark Lee hire than I did. I think Britt will tell you that. I guarantee you my best friend Ian Young will tell you that. He has videos of me talking about the night that Clark Lee got hired. I was talking so good about Clark. I want Clark to be the guy so bad. But if he doesn't fire his friends, put his damn head on the chopping block. Put him on the block. Put him in the guillotine and kill this man. Because it is not going to get Vanderbilt anywhere going 2-10 in the SEC. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. I cannot stress this point enough that I'm the most pissed off and sad, just blob of a human I have been in my whole entire life. And it's all because of the Vanderbilt Commodores. You can say, Joseph, you take it too serious. You take it to heart. When you invest as much as I have in Vanderbilt, you would take it to heart too, I promise. Like, I can name 100 UT fans. I've been to more away games and spent more money on Vanderbilt in the last 2 years than you have your whole life combined. I'm not saying that makes me a better fan, but I'm telling you that I am more
But
invested
it
in you.
does.
And also it kind of does. I agree with Britt. It kind of does. It's just so frustrating. It's frustrating for guys like me to have to sit back. I drank the Kool-Aid in the fall. I did. I came on this podcast. I said 7 wins. I drank the Kool-Aid. I think I even made Britt drink some of it with me
Yeah,
because
you did.
he could tell I was passionate. I thought this was not going to be the same old Vandy. I did. And to what I've seen so far, my neck's getting red. I've done got so mad. That's crazy.
Redneck, man.
But it's just disheartening. It's disheartening for me to calm down and just be real. It's so disheartening for me. I can't believe we're 2-2. I talked about when we were 5-1, I was going to go to the swamp, and we haven't even gotten to the 2 hardest games yet. You faced 4 freaking cupcakes. Should have beat Wake Forest. I don't give a crap what anybody says. We're more talented than them. We have double the talent UNLV does, and you lost to both of them. And it's discouraging. I've got players tweeting empty battery on Twitter. I've got players tweeting sigh on Twitter. 2 guys that I adore, 2 guys that care, and you can tell. But you have to look around at the rest of the team and say, I know the guys care. A lot of Vanderbilt players, like I'll look at them, I'll watch them play. Sometimes these guys are just getting beat because the dude across from them are better. I can't say that when we're playing UNLV. I can't even bring myself to say some of the bad players on Vanderbilt are worse than a UNLV player. I just can't. I look at their recruiting ratings, they're better. I look at what I've seen them do at Vandy, they're better. They play better competition. They've held up better in the SEC. And I watch us lose 40-37. I haven't really even gotten into a breakdown yet, which is pretty sad. I'm sorry, a recap. But just to read off some of the stats, A.J. Swan was 16 for 35, not that good. 296 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Questionable performance, but A.J. Swan's not the reason you lose. Vanderbilt has no running game. We literally cannot run the football. That puts a lot of stress on a sophomore quarterback, knowing he has to sling it around. We also are too stubborn to totally abandon the run. We won't just let A.J. Swan sling it around every down, which I don't understand. If you're averaging 2 yards per carry, screw the run. Screw the run. Let A.J. Swan throw it around. He's got Will Shepherd. He's got London Humphreys. He's got Jaden McGowan. Let him throw it. London Humphreys had 9 targets, 3 receptions, 102 yards. Shepherd had 9 targets, 5 receptions, 97 yards. And this is kind of on A.J. Swan, but also on play calling. Will Shepherd should get more than 9 targets every game. Give me 15 to 20 every single game. That's how many I want. That's how many targets I want Will Shepherd to have. If he's got 2 dudes on him and Swan throws a pick, I don't care. You threw it to your best player. The dude who's going to go have a great career in the NFL. I fully believe that. Throw it to him. Defensively, if you're not a freshman on this team, you suck. And your name's not CJ Taylor, you suck. You're not good. You're trash. Let me say that. You're not good. And you deserve to never play another snap of football in the SEC. You will because you're our only hope and our only chance, but you're bad. Also, Vanderbilt did have a lot of injuries in this game. Our 4th string safety had to play, John House. And they continue to pick on him in zone coverage. We went to man, they picked on him in man. They were lining up, they'd bring the guy over. House got brutalized in this game. That's not really anyone's fault. Your first 2 safeties got hurt, and your 3rd string was hurt before the game started. That's not, coaching can't do anything about that. House just isn't good. He's a UNLV caliber player. He's just not good. He got beat by guys that are the same skill level as him. That's not on the defense coordinator's fault. But you can make his life easier. You can. And that's the part that frustrates me. I don't think this coaching staff makes Vanderbilt even better. I think there's questions if they make them worse. And when you start questioning if they make the players worse on the team, and maybe even that AJ Swan regressed from year 1 to year 2, I'm going to start looking around and saying whose head's got to go. And then, like Britt said, if Clark Lee has loyalty to Joey Lynch and Nick Howell, then by God, put his head on the chopping block too.
Yeah, you said something about Clark Lee being stoic, but like look at the two best coaches in the country are Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. If there's a false start in the first quarter, they absolutely lose their mind. Josh Heupel's got that too, but it's more like Josh Heupel's thing is, you got to be kidding me. You
Yeah.
got to be kidding me. But like, I know that's not really relevant. Another thing, what team would you jump to?
I can never let myself get that far. I want to so bad. Like y'all don't, people really don't understand. Like Saturday, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I can't go to no more games. I can't do it. Like my mental health was at stake on Saturday. Like it really was. Like
Yeah, I texted you.
I was very, very, I don't like to use the word depressed. I was very, very sad on Saturday evening and on Sunday and on Monday and today. Because all I can think about is I review the UNLV game in my head, I go back and watch it, and that sucks. I have to watch us go up 17-0. I have to watch us fold under pressure and lose to UNLV in Vegas, a team you should never lose to. A team that I watched Derek Mason absolutely get blown out by. And I believe 2019. If the year's not correct, screw you. I don't care. It's just so sad. It is. It's disheartening. You have a lot of questions right now. You have to question, is Clark the guy long term? First of all, if I'm in charge of Vanderbilt, Clark Lee's on the hot seat right now. I'll wait no longer. Clark, you better be making some changes and you better be doing it right now. And if I was the AD, I would tell him to fire Nick Howell today. He would have fired Nick Howell before they got back on the plane for Vegas and taken over the defensive play calling. And I don't give a shit if it makes the team worse. Because Nick Howell does not deserve to have a job. He got let go from Virginia. Like,
Mel Tucker to Vandy.
hell no. Listen, DC, this would never happen in 25 million years, but his son is coming, so you might be able to win him. At DC, give me Will Muschamp. He could come hang out with his son, who is coming to Vandy. If you didn't know, Whit Muschamp is coming to Vanderbilt. He could come hang out with his son, a lot of father-son time. He's not a great head coach, but he has a great track record at DC. If you could get him to come, why not? I mean, that's my thing. I don't think he ever would come to Vandy because if he fails at Vandy, he would probably never get another job. But I mean, he's not working right now anyway, so what has he got to lose? So, I would call Will Muschamp. At OC, you have to get creative. But ultimately, I think that I'll say this right now. I don't think Clark Lee's the guy. I hate to be this way. I hate in week 3 for me to throw all my marbles away. And I may have to come back on here and eat this, but I don't think Clark Lee's the guy. I don't think a stoic presence like Lee can win at Vanderbilt. I don't. You need James Franklin. You need a wild card, a guy to come in, a young hotshot offensive coordinator to come in and to say, we're doing this thing in Nashville. That's what you need. And there's no better time to get rid of Clark than when the 2025 season rolls around. So if we wait until then, whatever, I'll suffer through my time and hope the doors can rally in 2025. But in 2025, all your stadium stuff will be done. The SEC will have its first year under the books with Oklahoma and Texas. And like I said, you'll have the best recruiting pitch you've had in a while at Vanderbilt. So there'd be no better time to bring in a hot shot that some offensive playmakers might want to play for. But this is just sad. You're going to see a lot of Vanderbilt players hit the portal this year, I think. Shepard's gone to the NFL. If Taylor doesn't go to the NFL, he'll go portal. I don't think he'll go to the NFL. I do think he'll go portal. You're probably going to lose CJ Taylor. Mahoney's gone. AJ Swan might transfer. And let me say this. AJ Swan is a top 7 quarterback in the SEC. From what I've seen, I would take AJ Swan in the top 7, and I would put him at 7. And I would take AJ Swan. I'm sorry, UT fans, except for Britt might agree with this after how much he's been hating. I would take AJ Swan over Joe Milton. He has some problems with pre-snap and stuff, but with the right coaching staff and some idiot not named Joey Lynch, who is our quarterback coach and our offensive coordinator, and I think he's brain dead. with somebody not named Joey Lynch, I think AJ Swan could be one hell of a quarterback. Because, dude, does he have the talent? Golly, just some of the raw stuff he does. Like, he's made
Oh,
hasn't had any world beaters at quarterback, but Jordan Rodgers was a good college quarterback. Kyle Shermer was a good college quarterback. I mean, some guys that got you through that major team look better than they were at times. So, as much as I hate to say it, you could see a very depleted Vanderbilt team. And if you look at Vanderbilt's 2024 schedule, good God, the last thing you need is a depleted team when you have Texas, Bama, LSU, and Tennessee rolling into town. It's the last thing you need. Britt, there's my rant. I'm sorry. Do you have anything to say?
no, a lot of emotion today. Feel free to keep your opinions to yourself. But week 3 of college football is sealed shut. It is over.
It's terrible.
We are moving forward and onward to week 4. You said Vanderbilt has Kentucky?
Vanderbilt has Kentucky. We're going to do a little merge here, a little 2-for-1 pod with Britt being under the weather and my schedule being insane. So just get ready right now. Get you a break. I tell you what, Britt, let's get us a little break in. If you listen to this pod right now, take you a nice break. Go get you a bev. Go get you maybe something to eat. Get you a cold beer. Get you something.
Yeah, water.
Come back and get you a water, maybe a little DP, a little Coke, a little something.
Zen.
Come back, and we gonna see you in just a second. We back. Glad to have my boys back. Glad to have my girls back. If any girls listening, shout out to the ladies. Vanderbilt has Kentucky in Nashville, 11 a.m. kickoff. Tennessee has UTSA.
Yeah.
UTSA, is that a night game, Brett?
It's 4:00 kick, 3:00 local, I believe. There were 3:00 local to where me and you live.
Yeah, so 3 p.m. kickoff if you're in Knoxville. This game against Kentucky could make me feel worse than I do right now, and I'm very aware. And so I'm really dreading it. I'm dreading going for the first time. I've also probably in my life. I really don't want to go to the game, but I am going. Let's talk about UT first. Let's talk about UT first, and that way we can start talking about Vanderbilt for a second. I can calm down.
Tennessee plays okay. My bad.
Brett, no, it's all you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not much to say. Obviously, a must-win. UTSA coming to town. They've kind of struggled this year, but so has Tennessee, obviously. You obviously lost Saturday against Florida, against Austin Peay. Felt like a loss. I would like to feel victorious Saturday, no matter what the scoreboard says. My only goal is I don't have any keys. Like you don't need keys against UTSA if you're Tennessee or Vanderbilt. No keys. All I want to see, I want you to be up by 2 touchdowns at halftime and put Nico in after halftime. If you're going to roll with Joe Milton, that doesn't bother me. But we have to have Nico play some. If you're not going to redshirt him, like, let's go. Let's see him get some time. I would like to see the offensive line. I would like to see Cooper Mays come back and play. If he exists, I would like to see that. I would like to see Kamal Hadden probably not play. Not because he sucks, but because I think he really is bringing us down. I think he kind of kills the morale of the team. He really has an attitude of like he's mad at the coaches, so he's going to play bad to like prove a point, which I don't think that's true. I just think he's that bad that it looks like he's bad on purpose. But yeah, I don't have keys. I feel terrible. I'm sad. I will be in Knoxville. I will be at Cool Beans, and then I will be in X5. Row 16, seats 3.
The only thing I really highlighted about UTSA was that UTSA actually does have a Vanderbilt transfer who I really liked. His name's Rocco Griffin. He's the running back. He is pretty good. He's averaging 5.5 yards a carry for UTSA so far. I don't know much about UTSA's O-line, but if they do solid, I think Rocco Griffin could hurt Tennessee. He does have good speed. He runs hard downhill. So definitely something to keep. And formerly a SEC player, had 2 or 3 SEC offers. So just a player that could hurt you to keep an eye on. Also, UTSA's quarterback was not a complete scrub against Army. He was 17 of 25 for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. So I mean, he had a solid stat line against really his in his last week. They did play Houston just the week before. In that game, he was 18 of 36, 209 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks. So to me, looking like an inconsistent quarterback, I don't think UTSA will have much offensive work. And honestly, even though I said the quarterback might hurt you, I think Rocco can hurt you, but I don't think either one ultimately does. UT's got much better athletes than this team. I mean, if you're my team, that doesn't mean anything if you out athlete the other team. So who knows at this point? But you definitely want to see, just to give some non-keys that are still kind of keys, you want to see Joe Milton play better. You just want to see him start hot. You do want to see him command the offense a little bit better. The most important quality of a quarterback is to be a leader. It is. And I truly believe that. It's to lead your team. I think Swan has a lot of growing to do there, and I don't know if Milton can grow there just because of his age. But you could see it at least get gradually better throughout the year. So hope to see that too. I think it correlates to his play as well. More snaps for Dante Thornton as well. He only played 15 snaps against Florida, and he looked pretty good. Caught some nice passes. So shout out to Dante Thornton. Can we get him some more playing time? I don't know why he's not.
Yeah, he's a guy that looked pretty bad against Austin Peay. Looked pretty terrible, honestly. So it was good to see him come back. In this game, it's more not necessarily execution on the field that I'm more concerned with. It's more coaching and locker room.
Yeah.
Like Joe Milton said, he said we're either going to come together or we're going to separate, and I think he's right. And it is nice to have some acknowledgement of that because it is kind of glaring. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean,
We'll see.
ultimately, I think Tennessee wins this game pretty big. I will say that. I think UT handles UTSA, but after a loss like that in Florida, you can never tell. This game could be closer. Like Britt said, maybe not feel like a win to UT fans, but all you can do, hope things get better, and move forward that way. UT takes care of business on Saturday, though.
Yeah. I mean, there is positivity. One, we're alive. If you're listening to this, you're alive. Tennessee has won 13 of their last 16 games. You've got a top 6-ish recruiting class. Like there's still positivity to be had, but if anything, as a fan, I'm a realist, and I'm going to hope for the best, but I'm also going to prepare for and acknowledge the worst and the bad stuff.
Yeah. Shout out Zendaya on Spider-Man. She hit me with, if you expect disappointment, you can never really be disappointed. And that is the philosophy I've now lived by. I'm going to expect disappointment the rest of the year for the Vanderbilt Commodores, and hopefully if they try not to let me down one time, which I highly doubt, then maybe I'll be able to smile one more time during this football season, but I honestly don't see it.
Yeah, the Doors are playing Kentucky, a team that they beat last year on the road. Kentucky seems like they always are. Like they'll beat you if you let them. They will beat you and they can beat you, but they're also Kentucky. So, how you feeling?
I'm never scared of Kentucky. I think I've said that in the past. If I haven't, then I don't know what I've been doing. I'm never scared of Kentucky. Vanderbilt's played Kentucky close, even when they've been pretty good. Lost by a touchdown, I think, the year they won 10 games. It's just I don't know if Vanderbilt could beat me, Britt, and some guys I found at the YMCA right now. But this matchup means a lot to me because Ray Davis has talked shit. And if you let Ray Davis come in and run all over you, that tells me everything I'm going to need to know about this team. You're soft. You got no grit. A big grit believer. You got no grit if you let Ray Davis come in here and run all over you. He talked shit about your school. Talked shit about you. Said Nashville was no football town. Said it was nowhere for ballers. You going to take it or not? My only question. You going to take it or are you not? Ray Davis, I hope he gets punished. I hope CJ Taylor kills him. I don't like this Kentucky team. Devin Leary is okay. Struggled with the deep ball. I don't think he's consistent enough to beat you. The most Vanderbilt thing ever would be to win this game and try to resurrect me from the dead.
Mhm.
It really would. It would be the most Vanderbilt thing of all time to kill me and then to rise me back up. Absolutely from the depths. Because, ultimately, if you flip a quarter at the beginning of the season and you say, hey, heads you beat Bama, or heads, we don't play Bama, heads you beat South Carolina, and tells you beat UNLV, but you lose the other one, I would take South Carolina to beat to lose to UNLV, because I freaking hate South Carolina. So I would take losing to UNLV if I can beat South Carolina. But for me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless Vanderbilt wins out and wins the East, which will not happen, may I remind you. Then it doesn't matter. This season will be a failure because you're not getting to 6 games. And that's why it's a failure no matter what. You're not winning 3 SEC games. You might beat Kentucky. I don't think you can beat Missouri. I don't think you can beat Florida. South Carolina still has Spencer Rattler. I think the teams are close, and I think Spencer Rattler is the better quarterback, so I'll give it to South Carolina.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
I think that's interesting. Bridget showed us his trash can.
My bad.
But yeah,
it's a Vols trash can.
When I'm looking at this game, I look at a few places. One, can Vanderbilt's O-line hold up and give A.J. Swan time? If you do, I think A.J. Swan can beat Kentucky. I do. Maybe that's crazy, but I think he could. That's key number 1. Offensive line hold up. Key number 2, the young guys are playing. London Humphrey starting at wide receiver, freshman. Martell Height starting at cornerback, freshman. B.J. Anderson, you're on the bench. Trudell Berry is starting. They're all the freshmen are starting now at where the positions we wanted them to. Young guys, play as good as you can. Live and you learn. I'm not mad at you. Martell Height, arguably, he didn't, but he did get beat on the final play of the game deep. You can't let that happen. But he's going to live and he's going to learn. I'm not mad at him. He should have never been in that position to get beat anyways. Defensive coordinator set him up to fail. He's a true freshman. Not his fault. Not mad. Key number 3, just honestly, and this is what I have written down, just try not to embarrass me anymore. That's what I have written down. Just try not to embarrass me anymore. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how else to say it. You embarrassed me Saturday. The Doors embarrassed me. There's been times, down years, you expected, but this year we were not expecting to be bad. We were expecting to at least compete in and out of every game, outside of probably Georgia, maybe Tennessee, you would argue. But now, after Austin Peay game, I said there's only one game we can't compete in, and it's Georgia. There's only one game that we can't compete in. But the coordinators don't set you up for success. Clark Lee is buddies with them, and who knows if he'll part ways. I think there's a lot of frustrating things about this game. Ultimately, there's no way I'm picking the Doors to win this game. Kentucky by 2 scores or more. I would say Kentucky by 14 or more. If I had to give a score prediction, Vandy 24, Kentucky 41. 41-24 Wildcats. There's my prediction.
The morale is at an all-time low.
It truly is. It truly is, man. I've played. I want people to understand. I bet I've played the UNLV game. First of all, I've rewatched it twice. The full game, I've rewatched it twice. I've replayed it in my head. I bet 1,000 times.
Did you have a good experience in Las Vegas at least?
I will say this: Las Vegas is a once in a lifetime town. If you're there longer than 5 days, you're going to be in trouble. That's 100%. There's a bunch of naked people. Vegas is kind of crazy. But Allegiant Stadium, I will encourage all football fans to go. Allegiant Stadium is like you're watching football in like $1 million mansion. Doesn't even feel like you're in a stadium. It's so nice. Like the seats were comfortable. You had nice leg room. It's kind of crazy that it's that nice. Allegiant Stadium's a must. Vegas is really cool. Outside of the Doors, trying to absolutely smash the time that I had. Vegas was a dub. But the Commodores just plastered a massive L over it.
Yeah, we're going to be walking into our stadium Saturday like King Ezekiel when they were going to fight the Whisperers. He's like, we may die today, but yet I smile.
I'm not gonna lie, right there, that is a great reference. That's the Walking Dead, the GOAT, King Ezekiel. Dude was a legend. Shout
Did he
out.
die?
How you gonna spoiler, bro? Yes.
Did he really? I couldn't remember. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I'm in the middle of a rewatch right now.
let's
But
go.
yeah, that's it. Vols, we gotta bounce back. Joe Milton, if we're gonna ride with you, let's ride.
Um,
Vanderbilt, I don't know what's going on.
I will say this though, we are not done on this podcast. Britt is tripping. First of all, we have to talk about our bets from last week.
Oh,
And
that's true. That's true.
and our bets from last week, let me just go ahead and say this. Sucked.
Yeah.
Craigheads, Jordan, guest pod, speaker, his was terrible. I think he got one. His was trash. Shout out Jordan. I know he'll listen to this. Real A1 day one listener. Um, Mine, I think I went 2 for 5. Britt, I know you have them, so please
I
pull
went
those up.
I went 2 for 5 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. Are we giving bets right now for this week?
Yes, we are.
We have to. Okay, you go first.
Okay, that's really good. Let me pull mine up. I've already made a parlay. Also, I do want to say this, that another reason I'm so mad at Vanderbilt right now is that I, for the first time, got to actually go place a bet, get the slip. If you're like on sports betting TikTok, I'm sure you've seen, I'm sure you've seen it. But I took a 2-game Syracuse, who was my lock of the week last week, and Vanderbilt in a 2-game parlay, put 100 on it. Payout was like 245, and Syracuse obviously won, and Vanderbilt let me down. So Vanderbilt, you honestly, not only did you cost me money, but you broke my heart. You're absolutely the worst. I can't say enough negative things right now. For the first one, give me Kentucky -10. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Give me Kentucky -10. It's just it's it's the play here. It just is. For my next game, give me Wisconsin -3.5. They're playing Purdue. We know I'm not very high on Purdue. Also, though, a lot of people was really high on Wisconsin, but neither team is good. Wisconsin gets the edge here, though. Florida State and Clemson. That that margin is really small. Florida State -2. I know Jordan Travis is in the air. Even if he is, though, Clemson sucks. I like Florida State in this game. You're basically taking a money line. You're taking a like -1 or 2. So depending on what site you're on and where you're at. So if you take FSU -1, I think that's a great pick. At my third pick, you've got Rutgers and Michigan. I'll take Michigan -20.5. Michigan, they have so far. They haven't covered the spread. I think they've covered it once so far this year. So give me Michigan just to cover the spread. My final game, you've got Auburn at Texas A&M. I've been an Auburn hater. I think we know that. Give me Texas A&M -6.5, just under the touchdown. That spread has been moving a lot. So get in, make sure just under the touchdown for my 5. If you parlay all that up, it is plus 1137. If you throw $20 on it, the payout's 247.52. And I threw $10 on it. So, do what you can. That's what I've got. Do what you can.
Okay, sir. We've got a little bit of overlap here. I like Florida State -2.5 against Clemson. I like in the Michigan game over 44 points. I like Ole Miss +7 at Alabama. I think Ole Miss could win that game. I like Auburn +7.5 at Texas A&M, and I like Tennessee and UTSA under 59 points. Under 59 points. That's it. Odds 5-pick parlay plus 2,400.
Also, I would like to add last week that I made a 13-pick parlay in college football, and I hit 12 out of 13, and the 13th was Vanderbilt, and it was $10 for 500. So Vanderbilt literally, not only do they cost me the 100 I bet and the 10 and an extra, I think 25. So like, yes, I lost $135, but if they just win the damn game, I'm really probably not that angry because I would have won like $800 this past weekend. It'd have been my second best weekend of college football of betting. But no, they can't even win the damn game. So honestly, the team is sad. I'm sad. Britt is sad. Life is kind of sad right now, and the fall weather is coming around. So if Vanderbilt football doesn't turn it around, I'm either going to be married to a woman by the new year, and that's my life is miserable, but you just have a woman, so I guess that kind of makes it better. Or I'm going to get married to a whiskey bottle. So Vanderbilt is totally your decision. I don't really care either way. But I just kind of want to die right now. So yeah. Anchor
We're
down.
we're alive.
Anchor down. Go Doors.
Man, I hate to hear that, buddy, but that's all I have. Thank you for listening. If you
Thank y'all.
have to this point,
Thank y'all so much for listening.
yes, as always, like us, do whatever you need to do, and go
Follow
Vols.
us. Anchor down. Go Doors.
Bye.